Malcolm, I want to start off with, can you talk to me what it's like going and standing in front of a room of children and explain to them that you hurt people for a living?
I explained it to him like I was a superhero. The first slide on my little PowerPoint for the kids said Malcom the Machine Wellmaker, and I told them my superhero name was the Machine. And I framed it like every guy I fought was a villain, and they kind of got it, but not really. You know, they was in pre-K, but it was super fun. We had a good time, and you know, I loved it.
Just even that experience, right? Obviously, we spoke about how every fight your stock goes up, people pay more attention to you, but now to be getting these opportunities to do things when you're not even like there yet, right? You haven't even reached the potential that you have. What is it like to start experience this and like learn as you're going along and enjoying it?
It's crazy. You know, even with the opportunity of me being out here now doing this media stuff, we did some like, you know, content shoots, realizing that this is my job now. It's not a 9 to 5. It's me being a fighter, but not just a fighter, and me having an image and putting out the right type of content and my personality. And it's still, you know, a lot for me to wrap my head around.
That's a weird one, right? It's funny you talk about personality. Like I always think back to everyone wants to judge people really hard, and then they say they're putting on an act or something like that. So how do you balance like being authentic to who you are with also like, you know, being good and company friendly and all that sort of stuff?
You know, to be real, I try to be as authentic as I can be, because I believe in my heart that I'm a good person. I believe in my heart that if I'm just being natural in who I am, people will gravitate towards me. And so far, it's been working, you know, so I'm going to just keep being real.
When do we get to see you fight again? I think that's one of the biggest complaints about your career is that you're not in these fights for long enough, you end them too quickly, and then we don't get to see you for a few months. When do we think we can get you back out there?
100% before the end of the year. I'm hoping possibly in November. You know, we'll see what happens, but fingers crossed, I'm staying ready.
This is just my opinion, it feels to me like you're one of these young guys that they're going to start putting on the big cards to give a spotlight to, as you know, when you have a big event. And it would strike me that Madison Square Garden would be a pretty legit place to put you. Would you agree with that? And is that a date you would like to fight at?
100%. I actually got asked that question not that long ago in one of these little media scrums, and they was like, you know, what's some of the bucket list things you want to do? And I said, fight at MSG. You know what I mean? That's like one of the biggest things you could do as an athlete, a combat sports athlete. So being able to check something like that off the list in my third UFC fight would be incredible. So I'm shooting for it. My management knows I want it. You know, Sean and them know I want it, and hopefully they can do it for me.
You do that, you turn around and fight on the first Paramount card in January, and then you're set up for the rest of the year, mate.
Easy money.
Hey, Malcolm, can you kind of explain, like, you know, how has life been since being, you know, a relatively only hardcore fans knew who you were in Georgia to now it feels like every MMA fan knows who you are and everybody just wants to see you fight. It feels like everyone just wants to hear from you. Like, can you explain what's that like?
You know, it's funny because the people outside in always say, man, it's like he blew up overnight. And then all the fighters like, you know, no, it wasn't overnight. He trained for 8 years. He did this, fought on the local scene. It felt like overnight to me too. You know what I mean? Because literally before Cameron Simon, like, you know, I was virtually still a regional fighter, just a regional star. And after that fight, and then, you know, followed up, you know, the 6 weeks later, it just absolutely exploded. And my life now is almost unrecognizable to just, you know, 4 or 5 months ago. So it's crazy. It's a whirlwind. It's a roller coaster, and it's fast.
What did your boss say when you quit your job?
He didn't say much. He smiled. You know, he was happy for me. He shook my hand. I actually talked on the phone to him and the other guys from my job last week. We probably gonna get together and grab some food and stuff, man. They was happy for me.
Finally, for me, what's it like, you know, having all these fans like, throw out these names like, oh, I want him to fight Yanez, I want him to fight Peyton Talbot, I want him to fight Sean O'Malley, Song Yudong. You like throwing all these names like you're like, oh, like, do you like it? Do you like? Would you prefer to fight big names or like a slow roll? Like, what's the thought process?
You know, I'm down to fight whoever, you know, and all the names, the recognizable names, get me excited. And you know, it's funny because, man, I can go on social media and post a picture with my child, and in the comments they say, "Are you fighting Ilya's little brother?" I'm like, you know, it's a picture about me and my baby. But I love it, man. The fans are awesome. You know, they hecklers a little bit, but they keep things entertaining. And those names, they always get me going.
Awesome. I hope you fight at Madison Square Garden.
Thank you so much, brother.
Malcolm, right here.
What's going on?
So you were invited out to attend the Atlanta United soccer game. those kind of experience, those kind of moments, does it kind of make it all surreal for you and make you kind of realize like, wow, this is my life, this is what it is now?
Yeah, nah, that Atlanta United game was another one of those moments where I took a step back and was like, man, they had me sharing that room with Jaylen Brown from the Celtics and Andre Burke from the Falcons. You know what I mean? And they got these boxes with our names on the table and my name's next to their name. You know, they multimillionaires. I'm working on it, and it's just crazy because everybody on staff and those other athletes as well treated me like I was special, like I was somebody big. And man, it's crazy to realize like that's not just who people think I am. It kind of is who I am at this point, and it's crazy. It's insane.
So you're a great fighter, but you are a father first. How has it been with all the added tension, all the added pressure, while still managing the fact that you're a father every day at home?
Life is good, brother. You know, the tensions, the stress, I feel like it's all good problems to have. You know what I mean? Like I had different types of stresses when I was, you know, working a 10-hour shift in work boots and then having to drag myself to the gym. Like, you know, I'm dealing with hecklers on the internet and I'm dealing with people throwing out expectations in fights. These are all good things, man. I embrace those and I take them with a smile. So it's awesome for me, man. I love it.
So you talked about kind of showing off your personality more. I know you made that video about like the Taporia fake news and everything. A lot of people like that video. Yeah. Can we expect to see a lot more from you like that in the future?
Yeah, that little video I made when I was like breaking down like the fake news and like the fights that they asking for. Yeah, I did not expect it to go that crazy. So seeing how much the people loved it, I'll probably make a little bit more of those green screen selfie videos.
Sounds great. Looking forward to your next one.
Thank you, brother.
So you had your fight, you got your contract, then you fought in the T-Mobile, then you fought in the State Farm Arena, but now you're back here at the Apex, the place where you earned your career. It's a Contender series. Is it nostalgic and is it special walking here? I guess, what does it feel like, the emotions tonight, just coming in here and feeling this whole energy again?
Yeah, earlier when the venue was a lot slower, it was less people here. I was in like the balcony area looking down at the cage, and I literally pulled my coach over there and I told him, I was like, I can feel myself walking out with no music. I can see my opponent in the cage. Like I remember all these moments so vividly, man, and it's beyond nostalgic, and it's crazy to think that, you know, that was just last season. You know, I was on that series and life is completely different now.
You know, and I was asking Jacoby the same question, but a lot of those fighters out there, they've got the nerves. They're back there warming up. What sort of things are going through their head right now as they're back there, and what are the emotions, and what do you remember of that night for yourself?
You know, I remember that night being bigger than any other night I ever had, but I also remember having the same exact feelings of my peace going into the fight, you know, and that willingness to have a war and that confidence in my ability to knock somebody out. Like, even though it was an incredibly huge moment compared to all my other fights, I felt like I was ready. I felt like I did the work on the regional scene. I felt like I had the tough fights, and I know in the camp I gave everything I needed to. So even though it was heavy, even though it was a lot of pressure, even though it was a make or break situation for my career, man, I knew I was ready, and I feel like I performed like it.
So have you been keeping track of the season? Have you been watching all season? What do you think about the crop of fighters that's been coming through this year?
I've been watching slightly. Obviously, I'm seeing all the highlights on my timeline, and man, it's some exciting stuff. It's some very exciting stuff. Like even tonight, they got a 6'1" bantamweight. I'm gonna be watching. So it's some real good fighters coming through, and I'm excited to see what all these new generation of guys are gonna do when they get into the organization.
And what would your message be to prospective fighters that are even just trying to get a call to the Contender series? I feel like everybody's watching this. It used to just be the Ultimate Fighter was what they dreamed. Now I feel like everybody's trying to make a shot to just get on the Contender series. So what would you tell those fighters out there that are trying to make it here and that are still trying to work on their dream?
Man, I've realized after seeing how much the UFC pours into their talent that as bad as we want to be here, they want us to be here. As bad as we want to be world champions and be the best athlete we can be, they want us to be. Like, it's a reason why they came up with this Contender series to get a pipeline of talent. It's a reason why they have the Performance Institute and offer all these resources free of charge to anybody on the roster, regardless of whether you're winning or losing fights. And it's because as bad as you want to be here, they want you to be here. So man, train your ass off. Like, work hard, be disciplined. Don't skip out on any workouts. Give it everything you got. And when you get here, show them that you're the talent that they're looking for. Fight for that finish.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Where are all the Georgian fighters? We got the 5 fighters from the country,
right? Yeah.
But no one from Georgia. Where are they?
Look, man, we got a pool of talent developing in Georgia right now. You know what I mean? They're the generation behind me. Right now, you know, in my generation, there's not too many of us. The country of Georgia is beating the state of Georgia out of the states right now, but it won't be long. We coming for them, brother.
Come on, dude. Tell them to step up.
I got you. Thank you, man. Thank y'all.